So my name is Omar Rampersad. It's 3:31 p.m., December 6, 2019. So I'm going to show you the tagging today. If you notice that there is no detection around my body, side, in front, side, back. So the sensor is out here. So if I wave it around my body, there is no detection. But if I pointed it towards my body, there is detection. And you notice that it's not all the time either. But the detector I'm using is not showing the breakdown as the other one, which is being charged right now. But you will see the readings on there. See the readings there? Even though the alarm is not being triggered, there is a reading. So the signals are coming out of my body. It's not only being directed towards my body. And the other detector actually shows that, yeah, you had a small reading there. The other detector actually shows signals coming into the body from an external source. But the alarm is being triggered from signals coming out of my body. So again, it could very well be both ways. Signals coming in, signals going out. So I'm tagged. There is absolutely no question in my mind. And this is the third type of detector I'm using. I've used 3 types of detectors. I've gotten the same results. So the back is tagged more consistently today. You could hear the alarm going off on the back. So last night, and the alarm went off quite high there. So there's an algorithm being run that is going from high to low. The signals are being pulsed from a higher to a lower range in power. Because if it was directed at one spot all the time, there would be organ failure, and there is organ failure in some victims. Um, I shield, or else I would have organ failure. I do have inflamed liver, I have fatty liver, which causes inflammation. And the area um, around the liver is is tagged all the time. And so is the liver, there's a spleen and the pancreas area. So when the pancreas is inflamed or gets damaged, then of course you get diabetes. So these are all subtle or not so subtle ways when it becomes diseased, when the organs become diseased. I should say covert ways that cannot be tracked easily, traced easily, um, to get victims sick, disabled, degrade their health, make them vulnerable, dependable, um, depending on an outside um, source for support. Um, Take away their independence. So this is all part of the targeting program. This is all part of an enslavement program. So in the Epstein's case, and more information is coming out in the Epstein's case, um, there seemed to be a program of enslavement based on taking advantage of vulnerable kids and threats. So once the person is taken advantage of, the victim, and the victim is raped and turned out, because that's exactly what is being done physically, um, there has to be a way of keeping the person quiet, keeping the victim quiet. This is one way. So these signals are not the only type of directed energy weapons being used. These are frequency-based weapons. There's lasers, light-based weapons. There's sonic technology, sound-based weapons. That will disable you very, very quickly. There's ultrasonics, haptic technology, and this is what's being used on me. I'm suspecting based on what I'm experiencing. So haptic technology is the feeling of touch, virtual touch. So signals are bounced off your body and received by sensors on a glove or in a bodysuit that's worn by the perpetrator. And pressure is placed on the body. So the signals, well, the pressure is a result of the signals being pulsed into the body and bounced back. So the amount of power with which the signals are bounced off the body will create pressure on the body. So you will feel the person, the victim being affected this way will feel pressure, but also you'll feel your internal organs being crushed, basically. You will not only feel the pressure on your skin, if enough power is applied, the pressure is felt in the internal organs. So you will find that the air will be pressed out of your body. You will actually feel air coming out of your body, like somebody pressing on your stomach and forcing you to exhale. So sometimes during the night, this technology is used. So there's all kinds of different technologies that that are being experimented with, basically, to enslave covertly. Hard to prove if the person doesn't know what's going on, and if it's a child, a 9-year-old child, a 12-year-old child, like an Epstein's ring, it would be impossible for that child to realize what's going on, and of course, completely impossible to take any shielding action against these technologies. So that's the part I'm suspecting that's not being talked about openly. Because I think the training, as is being done in this building, is being done remotely. I suspect that the training is being done remotely. And then the person is stimulated, a 12-year-old child, puberty is coming on. The person is curious, child is curious about her body, and that's taken advantage of. So the child is activated just about the time that she reaches puberty. She's activated, then she's raped, and she's trained. So the sexual activity starts as a slave, trained to serve other people. Now, in my case, the technologies, and this was 50 years ago, well, um, 45 years ago, um, these technologies were not available as widely, I should say. They probably were available in the military. But 45 years later, the technology is very, very easily gotten and to be used, to be taken advantage of, to be abused by perpetrators to victimize people. So any common, person walking the street can get with a little bit of money, or who has connections to people who have the money, can get access to this technology to victimize just about anyone. Not only people on the list, targets, but kids. Kids, like in Epstein's ring, is what it's all about. It's the children they really want. It's the kids that they really want. Because when they start early, the child can be trained to become anything, and the child could be customized to anyone. A vulnerable kid looking for comfort, support, have absolutely nothing, no money. Parents sold the child or a runaway, completely and utterly vulnerable to be taken advantage of. And that's exactly what Epstein ring did. Now, on the other side of that ring, there were grown women, moneyed women, beautiful women. I heard there were some of the most beautiful women in the world as part of that ring. These are people who consented to being a part of that whole world. And as far as I'm concerned, that's perfectly fine. If an adult with all the faculties intact, with his or her all faculties intact, consent to this type of a lifestyle, I have absolutely no problem with that. I say go for it. If that's what you want, go for it. But don't force people into that world. Don't take advantage of kids. Don't force people into it. And this is exactly what's going on in this building. This is exactly what is going on in this building. So you have, you have really dirty criminal, hardened criminal gangs, Muslim gangs, black gangs, Somali gangs, Sri Lankan gangs. These are hardened criminals who are given the task of selecting people that they see on the street. They're always on the lookout, scouts, selecting women, kids, grown people to be victimized this way. So when a grown-up person is selected, the person is brought down and suppressed and regressed into a vulnerable state and then taken advantage of. So in order to do that, you have to take away everything that the person has. So if the person has a car, a job, a house, you take that away, make them vulnerable, make them dependent. And the word is dependent, not dependable. Make them, dependent on an outside source, and then take advantage of that. So the template is the same. First, the person has to be vulnerable. And this is exactly what's going on here in this building. And of course, you have to have, as in Epstein's ring, you have to have the cops involved, because the cops are, the cops who choose to take part in this are integral. They are an integral part of the running and the operation of this ring, keeping the victims contained and keeping them quiet by criminalizing them artificially with fake charges and fake mental illness diagnosis, as in my case. Talk to you another time.